Hi there guys, my name is Matt Brown and today I want to talk to you about something called the acquisition entrepreneur. So what exactly is an acquisition entrepreneur? Well, you're looking at one. An acquisition entrepreneur is essentially a founder entrepreneur who builds and sells businesses. They want a liquidity event and they want to get rich in the process of selling businesses repeatedly. You get other types of entrepreneurs who are essentially, lifestyle business owners who just want a business to support their lifestyle. It's great, cool, I get to support my lifestyle. But they very rarely get rich. They just want to support their lifestyle. So acquisition entrepreneurs are an entirely different beast altogether. So here's the rub. Every business will die eventually. Now, if you just look at the average age of businesses on the New York Stock Exchange, they were 50 years ago, 78 years old on average. Today, it's 18. So what's happening? Facebook is on the New York Stock Exchange, $1 trillion company, 18 years old, that is all. What happened to the rest of them? Well, the reality is they died in many cases, Kodak being one of those. And there are countless other examples of businesses die. So because of this, selling a business is a very good option. But how easy is it to sell your business? Now, to understand the answer to that question, you need to understand something called the business acquisition coin. So on one side, you have businesses who are in a survival stage and then a growth stage. Now, on the other side of the coin, you got businesses that are in an expansion stage and a mature stage. So where do you fit into all of this and in the context of selling your business? Well, the first thing to say is that you want to get out of survival mode, right? No one's going to buy a business in survival mode. There's just no way. If you don't have customers, if you don't have a validated business model, which is the entire purpose of a startup in the first place, then no one will buy your business. You have to have a business model that is validated so that your business can grow. My company, Digital Kung Fu, got acquired because we were doubling revenues every single year. We had a validated business model and we were growing. We were in a growth stage. So here's why this matters. Expansion businesses are expanding, right? They want to add new geographies. They want to integrate more products. They're trying to expand, diversify. And the reason why that matters is because they want to increase revenue and value to their customer base. Mature businesses are businesses who've expanded and they just live in the dream. They're at a mature stage. Facebook is actually an example of a mature business. They expanded by acquiring Instagram, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment. Now, how do you know when your business is ready to sell? So the first thing to say is that you need to have 3 years of trading history on average. If you have only 12 months of trading history, very difficult to value your business. If you have 2 years, easier. 3 years, better. 6 years, even better. 10 years, even better. So the longer you have your business in terms of its trading history, the more easy it is to value the business and to de-risk the sale at the end of the day. So at a minimum, if you have 3 years of trading history, then you can sell. But how much can you sell for? So there's something called EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. It's a fancy word for profit, basically. And so whatever your profit is, it's usually valued at a multiple. That multiple is 3. So if you have a business that has $1 million in profit, depending on the type of business and the industry that you're in, you can get a 3 times multiple, sometimes more, sometimes 5, sometimes 10, sometimes 20. It really depends on the type of business that you're in. But acquisition entrepreneurs know what they want to get out at the end. So once you know that, then you need to know that there are 2 main types of acquisitions for owners of businesses in the growth stage. So this isn't a rule, but this certainly is the most common for owners who are looking to sell, right? So acquisition entrepreneurs. So the first type is vertical acquisition. So this is one of the most common types of acquisitions. This actually happened to me. Digital Kung Fu was just doubling revenues. One of our biggest clients, actually, I had lunch with one of the directors and he said to me, listen, yeah, you're causing me a headache at board level because we're paying you too much money. And we're paying you too much money. And in fact, it's causing me a headache because if we don't own you, we cannot continue to pay you as much money as we're paying you. So why does this matter? Well, it matters for them because by acquiring us, they would be transforming an expense into a new revenue stream. And that is an example of an acquisition or vertical acquisition, because it turns essentially an expense, our services, into a new revenue stream for them. The second type of acquisition is called a horizontal acquisition. So this doesn't really have anything to do with who's supplying who in the supply chain, but instead it refers to companies acquiring other firms in the industry. So take social media. I mentioned Instagram earlier. Facebook acquired Instagram, and it's a great example of a horizontal acquisition. It was a $1 billion acquisition. Do you know what Instagram is worth today? $102 billion. So did Kevin, the founder, did he sell for too little? Maybe, but who's to say? It was enough for him. And that is why acquisition entrepreneurs are so smart in terms of when to sell. And that's really important. So $1 billion may not sound, today as 100 times more. Right? If you just held on to it, it could have been a $100 billion business. What would that mean for him as the seller, Kevin, the founder? But for him, it was enough. So you have to know what is enough for you. Do you want $1 million out, 5 million, 10 million, $1 billion? Whatever the number is, if you're going to be an acquisition entrepreneur, you need to know what is enough for you. And so start thinking about that. So I want to show you some real world examples. So let's take a quick look. This is a South African or African example. So Mr. Price to buy a majority of Studio 88 in a 3.3 billion rand deal. It's about a $220 million deal, but essentially it's a retail acquisition. Mr. Price announced on Wednesday that it's acquiring 70% of the owner of Studio 88 Group, which includes Sidestep, John Craig, Skipper Bar brands for $3.3 billion, right? So Studio 88 operates 700 stores. So this is an example of a mature company acquiring footprint, essentially, to then add new revenue into their existing mature business. So this is an example of a mature acquisition. Let's take a look at the number of acquisitions that have actually happened worldwide over the last 10 years. If you look in 2021, there have been more acquisitions in 2021 than in any year all the way back to 2010. And in fact, it's increased overall, exceeding 63,000 acquisitions. This is a very liquid market. These are companies who are exploring vertical acquisitions, horizontal acquisitions, and many, many other kinds. I want to share with you one other example here. Twitter acquires mobile engagement platform OpenBack. Why? To enhance push notifications. You might look at push notifications and say, well, why would you acquire a company to enhance push notifications? Why not just build it yourself? This is an example of a horizontal acquisition, right? This is valuable to Twitter because it improves their customer experience. The better the customer experience for Twitter, the more users they will have. The users are ultimately their product at the end of the day. No users, no advertising, can't make money, right? So this is an example of how Twitter is acquiring technology to integrate into their platform because it speeds up their time to value. So all of this is fascinating. There's two things I want to leave you with. One, what type of entrepreneur are you? Are you a lifestyle business owner or are you an acquisition entrepreneur? I love building and selling businesses. I think it's the best for me. The second thing I want to encourage you to think about is what's your number? If you're going to be an acquisition entrepreneur, how much is enough for you? And remember, it's not about winning big, it's about winning. And that's a really important point to end on. So my name is Matt Brown. If you like what I've had to say, guys, why don't you comment and subscribe to my channels? Why don't you let me know what is enough for you? Is it $1 million, $10 million, $1 billion? What's enough for you? My name is Matt Brown, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao.